Hello and welcome to another Reading Cast. As always, my name is Johno. I'm joined once again by special guest Chris Dyer. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Johno.
We're here to watch the second elimination round of the BABW Reading Qualifier, which was the qualifier from Reading for the BABW series tournaments, etc. and so on. On the left-hand side, we've got Chris Martin from Swindon playing Whizzard, and on the right-hand side, Dave Etherington from just down the road in Aldershot playing NEH. So, I have an inkling that Chris might be playing Siphon Eater build, and that Dave might be playing a kind of fast advanced rushy temples build. How is this an ideal start for Dave, icing both centrals?
No. So if you are playing assets and fast advance, you really want to kind of build a critical mass of assets as soon as you can, so that Whizzard can't trash them one by one. You want to be playing new remotes, so you draw cards. This kind of might keep his central secure, but it means that he's got nothing going on turn one. Chris has no kind of real need to respond to anything, and can build up a little bit before he has to try and dismantle Dave's board state.
So with respect to run on HQ, he's going to hit Mumbo Temple, which is trash, might as well.
But that confirms he's on asset spam, so if he's got Mumbo Temples, you know he's not trying to kill you.
Yeah, so as Whizzard here, I guess it's important to kind of keep your money up and be able to pressure every remote that comes out to avoid that critical mass.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, given that we suspect he's on Siphons, is rezzing the pop-up a slight misplay from Dave?
It's not ideal. So ideally, if he's on Siphon, you want to keep that ice unraised as long as possible, because it means that Chris will have to make a decision. Either he blind Siphons hoping he can get through the ice, or he kind of just assumes that it's not relevant.
He's trying to create some mystery.
That's right. It's just to hold off the Siphons as long as possible. So if you make Chris think he needs to find an answer, then he might be holding Siphons, digging for an Eater, for example.
Yeah. But
so that confirms he's on Eater. As soon as you see Keyhole, you know they're playing Eater.
Yeah. But so if the ice is not rezzed, it means that he has to wait until he's got, say, Eater and David.
Or he assumes he can get through. So there's actually not that much ice in the NEH deck that stops you, depending on the build. So some decks play a lot of Vanillas and Quandaries, but some of the decks rely on Resistor and stuff like that, which you can always pay through.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that is fair. The economy fairly equally matched at the moment, although Chris got a few credits in that inject. He's going to check the remote, not any reason not to, and he's going to trash the Cincy.
And because it's just one asset per turn, Chris can trash him just with Whizzard credits, which means that his economy is not even going to take a hit doing it.
That's true, and turn one strike from Whizzard as well means that Dave's not going to get the draw even.
Yeah, that slows this deck down a lot, actually. It's not immediately obvious, but Strike is very powerful against NEH unless they can clear it almost straight away, because they rely on building up cards. So the deck is very card hungry in that it wants to play 2 or 3 cards a turn in an ideal world, and Strike really stops them doing that.
Strike's a really interesting card, actually, because it, it's really good against the decks that lean very heavily on their ID ability.
It's very,
the likes of IG.
It's very subtly powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, but it's very strong against NEH. And I'd say against ETF as well, that's the other one, where you look at it against ETF and you think, well, maybe not, but actually it is surprisingly strong, because a lot of those ETF decks don't have much economy. They just have a lot of things to install.
So, interestingly, Dave does have some tag punishment. He's just ditched to closed accounts, but that means that Chris will have to be wary of that, because he can't lean too hard on Siphon and no over economy.
Yeah, okay. And we see a team as well. So I don't know for sure, but I've got a hunch that Dave might be on what is so-called Joey NEH at this point, which is a kind of Turtlebacks updated build that has some tag punishment, and it has GFIs and EOIs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But is at its heart an asset spam Turtlebacks deck, and obviously team sponsorship is a card that would fit in that deck. I don't think it's Russian. I guess we'll find out. Team sponsorship, of course, is a card that's in
both versions,
any Russian deck, but I don't expect CGs.
So interesting that Dave trashed the pop-up window, because chances are Chris will run through HQ quite a bit this game, but pop-up sometimes has downsides when you're running with Siphon, because you can give them money which they then steal.
That's true.
And that shows why he did it, because he was worried about the hit from to his econ from Rezzing Toll Booth.
So he has essentially bankrupted himself to kind of solidify HQ, but I would say that he has solidified it.
He's held off on different HQ until Chris can find an answer to this Toll Booth, which is likely to be David and Spooned, but that takes a while to assemble.
That's true. Yeah. So we can. Cutlery isn't too unlikely to see in this deck, I guess.
It's almost a given if you think they're on this sort of deck.
Okay. You're right. So David and Spoon is a very strong solution to.
But it's two cards that he's got to find. Now, Dave has gone to discard from an inject, which means he can use your recursion piece. But again, you're still looking for 2 cards to do it. Yeah,
okay. So he's going to Dirty Laundry. I guess that was Archives to get soccer counters and money.
Chris is building up his econ here, which means that he's probably going to play some cards soon to try and kind of influence this game. Dave is still not putting any pressure on Chris to score, like to kind of go any faster at the moment, because he hasn't been able to build a board state yet.
Yeah, so Chris is going to drop a keyhole, and he's going to be able to do some punishment here, because with only a pop-up on R&D, he's going to get a few keyholes.
So we can have a few initially. His econ is actually at the point where pop-up is almost prohibitive to run too many times.
That's true. If he's got a Yogg, even, he might consider installing it.
Yeah, you would assume he hasn't got it. Otherwise, you're right, he probably would install it.
You're right, he probably won't have it if he's on Eta, David.
It's quite common to play one.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Just because otherwise you have no answer to Turing on HQ.
Yes, okay, that's fair.
So these are some good keyhole accesses. Jackson and Breaking News are some of the cards that you most want to get rid of. And in fact, he's just going to go and steal the Breaking News.
He does just run archives to take the Breaking News. That's not unreasonable. He does leave, and obviously the Jackson in the bin. It's going to slow down Dave. We can assume he's got 3, but he's going to need to shore up R&D, which he does.
Which he does, yep.
Because the pop-up's not going to do it. Although, like you say, there's a definite economy problem here for Chris.
There is now. What Dave really needs to do now is build up a couple of assets and play them all at once, or score a Breaking News and clear that strike. If you know they're on Siphon, then there's less need to punish them straight away with the Breaking News. You can score the Breaking News just out of hand, and then rely on the fact they're going to go tag me to just provide you with the tag punishment enabler later on. Yeah,
and given that Chris has a data sucker, we can probably say parasites in this build. That could be what the influence is on. Obviously, there'll be, let's say, 2 siphons. There might be a lot of other influence spent on most wanted pieces. As they throw something in a remote, so it's behind some ice. I wonder if Chris attempts to check it.
So unless he has DDoS, it's almost impossible for him to break
ice. He's going to gamble
ice.
And run. So it's a wrap, okay. So he's going to have to use a David on that.
I think if he had a David, he'd have played it by now, actually.
We haven't actually seen an Eater, but we assume it's in his deck because we saw Keyhole.
Right, so that clears the strike, which means that Dave might be able to start building his board now. It's a shame it's a project build, but any agenda there is good, partly because it pressurizes Chris into going a bit faster because Dave's starting to get towards 7 points, partly because it clears the board, and partly because he's now got a scoring remote that he can score out of until Chris does something about it.
Yeah, so Chris has drawn Eater. He's going to drop it. He did appear to be drawing for pieces. He kind of stalled a little bit, but with Eater and some money and Keyhole, he can pressure R&D a bit.
Yeah, the way these decks usually win, they kind of use Account Siphon to...
That's going to spoon HQ. Interesting. Okay, so he's going to use suckers. I think he didn't have the money for that. I think he had credit short.
1 credit short, yeah.
Yeah, because he had to pay for the spoon.
2 for spoon, 3 for
the
toll booth, 1 to break.
Yeah. Okay, so he's a credit away, but click for credit. And then he can spoon the toll booth, which is big. So that means that now, let's say he's got a siphon 2 in hand.
Oh, he's got a 4th.
I think he ran again, yeah. So he ran again on his final click and took a food, okay. So if there's... And he's going to run again. So the agendas have been building up on HQ, okay. Which makes sense, right? Because where else have they been going?
Yeah, because Chris has never let Dave have any kind of score.
There's been no remote and there's been no Jackson, so they are just going to be in HQ. So he has to ice HQ, which he does, take some money. And this HQ ice is very likely to be suboptimal.
So Siphon is now back on. Chris has enough suckers that 1 or 2 credits probably breaks whatever ice is there.
Yeah, okay, so he's going to take 2 and run, I think it was HQ after that. He's basically forcing a res at this point. Archangel, interesting. So it seems like he's only got 5 suckers. That's fine. So we can use some suckers on one.
He has to use them, otherwise he gets his.
But what gets picked up?
Eater, I suspect.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't run it again because you can get keyhole mounts next time.
Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna let the trace fire, and the data sucker gets picked up. Interesting. Okay. So the sucker, not the biggest momentum loss.
So that's interesting. It's not a momentum loss economy-wise.
It also means he can access and that's game. So that's right.
Dave was very flooded. It wouldn't have been an economy hit because he could have played the sucker with no cost, but it means he had no way of breaking the Archangel because he lost all the sucker tokens.
That's true, yes. So if he had broken it and then built up sucker tokens, say on archives, then he could have spooned it. It looked like he had another.
So Dave was just hoping to live through that single access, which would have been a 1 in 3. But even then, he had nothing really in hand to help him develop that game.
Yeah. So that was a game. That was a result that came about, I think, because of Chris's early pressure. He didn't let Dave get off to a strong start, which meant that because Dave couldn't get the momentum, he couldn't get the agendas out of his hand.
Rough draw for Dave though as well, because he did kind of steady HQ so that he wasn't bleeding accesses and he wasn't getting stuff trashed out of hand, but he never drew enough assets to really start developing board state. I think he only saw about 3 or 4 assets.
Yeah, and that's true. And he did force out the build behind Wrap.
Yeah.
He could have been quite aggressive and done that again. But if he had a handful of agendas, then
if Chris's economy was way down, so if Dave had drawn a couple of assets and paid, there's a real chance he could get 1 or 2 to stick, and that's when the board starts to develop. But he never got to that point.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So in the next game, check notes. We have Chris again. So sadly, Dave was knocked out, but Chris will continue, and he was playing Sol, a fairly explodey version of Sol, from what I remember, against Dan Sargent, who travelled for this one. I was playing Kate. So that'll be a next round. That was in the losers. I'm going to think about this. Losers bracket final.
Yep.
So in the other game, Ollie McIntyre had won, and he will wait in the winners bracket to face the winner of this next game. Great. All right. So I'd like to remind all our viewers they can find all our videos at the website nearreadinggrid.co.uk and on the YouTube channel Near Reading Grid and on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.